Hi guys, welcome back to episode 009, where I'll be talking you through the Boss Babe 7-figure funnel with marketing and sales and what I learned from it. So there's obviously 3 ways to build your audience. There's buying your audience, there's building your audience, and then there's borrowing your audience. And obviously buying your audience is expensive on the marketing, and if you're just starting out and if you don't have any marketing budget, it's going to be difficult. Building audience takes time, and then borrowing audience is normally you give a revenue share, so again you are giving part of that money away. So Natalie Ennis says that there's a 65%, 25% and 10% percentage of what you should do. So 65% is from your own audience, 25% buying audience, and 10% borrowing audience. And moving on, there's 3 types of content. There's growing your audience, there's building brand, and then there's converting to revenue. So it falls into these 3 buckets. So what she recommends is researching 10 people that have the same audience as what you want, and then looking at what goes viral. Pick 10 posts per 10 people, then you have 100 viral style posts, which you can then use in the next 100 days, which is what I'm going to do, or what I have currently started doing. So if you want to go on this 100-day viral post journey with me, then you're more than welcome. And obviously don't copy directly, like repurpose the content and like change the length, change the trending audio, but understand what's working well and why, and which is critical to making sure that your post works well too. I would say keep reels under a minute if you can, or like minute 20 or whatever. Make it short, because reels are there to captivate your audience, whereas your long form, like this podcast, is there to build a relationship. So then she moves on to talk about content, what content to build, value-based content that will keep people there. Give consistent value will keep people there. Call to action content and 3 R's. So the 3 R's is reach, resonance, and revenue. And then she mentions using ManyChat to comment on your Instagram comments. And I get using a bot to comment, because obviously if you are like super busy, you don't want to be stuck in the comments. But from my perspective, I like to spend the time reading each comment, understanding what people want, and then replying, either with my ChatGPT's help if it's a long post reply. But I want to personally reply to every single comment and every single DM, because it's going to be so much more powerful and useful for you. If someone takes the time to comment on your posts, then you should take the time to reply and not use a bot. But yeah, that's the difference between her and I guess. And then post our content, so what I mentioned with the reach, resonance, and revenue, creating viral style for wider reach, strong hook and call to action for resonance, 1-word document to direct audience into funnel, need a strong hook, grab attention right away, clear call to action, fill funnel with traffic, use ManyChat again. And then she moves on to talk about reach, and then obviously using visual hook, such as like making coffee or cutting a pizza, because people like to see a loop close. So your brain is wired to see a loop close, so you watch until the end of the video, which I kind of get. But if you're talking about business, and if you are then just like cutting a pizza talking about business, it's just a bit like mismatch. It's just like, are people tuning in to just watch the pizza being cut, or are people tuning in and actually listening to your advice? So I always recommend, like, obviously facing the camera, doing talks like this. It's worked for so many, well, it's worked for Grant Mitt, so, like, you know, don't overdo it. Your stylized content, just talk to the camera and people can see you, which is the most important thing that people want to see, because you're unique. Like, if I want to watch a pizza being cut, I'll go make a pizza and then cut it myself, you know. Opens a visual hook, which is fine. Visual hooks are fine, but how many visual hooks can you do in a day? You know, it's just difficult to do like visual hooks every single day and be committed, because it's just extra work and effort, and it's like, is that really paying off? And then she talks about, like, one of her stronger hooks is, like, is 2024 your $1 million year, which I then repurposed to, is 2026 your $1 million year. And I talked about AI and optimization, and then using the internet, because you have more information than presidents and kings 100 years ago. And then she moves on to talk about with ManyChat. So Instagram doesn't recognize if it's a bot or if it's a person commenting. So if you're replying to every single comment using ManyChat, then you automatically double the engagement of the comments. So if you get 10 comments, you automatically get 20 comments straight away, because your bot is answering your comments, for example. So yeah, always, if you're commenting on your post, then keep that interaction, keep that going. She then talks about, like, using broadcasting for Instagram, but I think because she's so into Instagram, and she is an Instagram queen, basically, essentially. She doesn't use TikTok, she doesn't use podcasting, she doesn't diversify, but I disagree with not diversifying. It's not even leaving money on the table. It's like people jump from platform to platform nowadays. People jump from LinkedIn, then to TikTok, then to YouTube, because everyone's attention is so sparse. So if you're not everywhere and anywhere, you are failing your audience, in a sense, because they can only find you on Instagram. It's just like, I don't even scroll on Instagram anymore. I just scroll on TikTok and then watch YouTube, and I'm very intentional with where I go and what footprint I leave, especially when I'm watching content. So she obviously has done really, really well for herself. I'm not questioning that. I'm just saying some of her tactics won't work for me, because I like to post snippets of articles on TikTok, and then I like to post videos about my day on YouTube, and then share that on, like, my Snapchat. My Snapchat has gone wild recently. And then I like to post, like, really nice images on Instagram. And yeah, it's just every platform has its own variation of what it should be doing for your brand. So try not to repeat content across platforms. Try to be strategic in, if you're posting videos on YouTube, I wouldn't post the same content on TikTok or Instagram, because then people are just like, they should have the experience of seeing a different version of you on Instagram than on YouTube than on TikTok, you know what I mean? And that's the kind of vibe I'm trying to create. I'm not saying I've never posted across all 5 or 10 platforms, however many platforms there are nowadays. I'm just saying, don't share your content across all platforms, because then you start draining people, you start boring people. It's just like, oh my god, like, he's posted this again, and I've seen that content on his Instagram, and now I'm seeing it on YouTube, and now I'm seeing it again on TikTok, and it's just like a bit like bleh. It gets a bit too much sometimes. it gets a bit repetitive, and it's like I want to see a different angle of you on Instagram, because Instagram is mainly pictures and reels, right? But YouTube is like video led, and now it's obviously copying posts and stuff. And I think because every social media platform is trying to copy every other social media platform, it gets a bit hard to actually realize what each platform should be for. But trying to make evergreen content, like things for your website, like a podcast, is evergreen content because it's yours, and you own the audience, or you own the content essentially. So making long form videos on YouTube is great, but if YouTube shuts down like tomorrow, then you don't have that. Well, not saying you've lost that content, but you've lost the audience essentially, and you have to like rebuild again. We then move on to making sure this is so important, making sure your sales funnel is mobile friendly. So people are accessing through mobile nowadays, and she talks about how even the captions on your email should be short enough to read it on mobile and not be cut off. And yeah. Yeah, another point she makes, this is kind of like the final point she kind of makes, is that you cannot automate your sales and your service, because those are the two key things that would pull people into the funnel. So make sure you're spending at least 30 minutes a day in your DMs, like replying to comments or doing whatever you can to interact with people. If they are going on LinkedIn wishing you a happy birthday, like reply to them, send a voice note, be genuine, and actually like make that and build that connection. I just love voice notes, and I love podcasting because I love using my voice rather than typing to someone. And like I get really annoyed when I send a voice note and people don't send one back, because it's just like it's quite ingenuous. So if someone sends you a voice note, please send one back. Like, it's just your voice. Like, why are you so shy of like putting your voice out there online? And typing and messages can be misread, and you don't have tonality, you don't have the pauses, you can't read between the lines, so I just love voice. And if anyone does another social media, build a social media, it should be audio led social media. How cool would that be? So like literally you just post like social media audios, and you're like voice noting, and like you have to like listen to the end, because there is no hooks, there is no nothing, I guess that's what podcast is, like your voice and your presence. So she's made her 7-figure funnel from a £29 product, which I think now it's now like up. If it's her society product, it's now gone up to $97, and she's kind of increased it. But it's a £27 product on a monthly basis, so it's recurring revenue rather than just a one-off. Because to make a 7-figure revenue from $27, you're gonna need a lot of sales. You're gonna need hundreds of thousands of sales. So yeah, gonna wrap it up here. Let me know your thoughts, let me know what you think about this podcast, and I am more than willing to keep sharing my knowledge with you. Any kind of golden stuff that I learn from other people, I always kind of reshare and repurpose. And yeah, thank you so much, Natalie Ellis, for going through all of that in your keynote. And thank you so much for all your knowledge and being so open about sharing your knowledge and not gatekeeping anything. It's been an interesting ride, essentially, and I'm going to create a mentorship program hold me accountable to this, Grant. But I'm going to create a mentorship program where I'll be mentoring you guys essentially on how to start a business, how to pivot with AI, how to, you know, do all of these things where your business might be failing or like just breaking even, or like what to look out for and stuff. And it's going to be so applicable to a lot of tech businesses. So if you are interested, like DM me and let me know, because I need to start building the course essentially. And it's not going to be a course, it's going to be like live mentorship. So you get to ask me questions, and yeah, you get me live for the duration of, I don't know, an hour like twice a week or something like that. So I'm going to be selling that membership soon, so watch this space. Thank you so much for listening to episode 009, and let's call this Natalie Ellis's Boss Babe 7 Funnels Secrets. And yeah, I will see you in the next one.